Therefore you shall love Yahweh your God, and keep his instructions, his statutes, his ordinances, and his commandments always. Know this day, for I didn't speak with your children who have not known, and who have not seen the chastenment of Yahweh your God, his greatness, his mighty hand, his outstretched arm, his signs and his wonders which he did in the middle of Egypt to Pharaoh the king of Egypt, and to all his land, and what he did to the army in the Red Sea, to their horses, to their chariots, how he made the water of the Red Sea to overflow them as they pursued you, and how Yahweh has destroyed them to this day, and what he did to you in the wilderness until you came to this place, and what he did to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the sons of Reuben, how the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households, their tents, and every living thing that followed them in the middle of all Israel. But your eyes have seen all of Yahweh's great work which he did. Therefore you shall keep the entire commandment which I command you today, that you may be strong and go in and possess the land which you go over to possess, and that you may prolong your days in the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers to give them, and to their offspring, a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land where you go in to possess isn't like the land of Egypt that you came out of, where you sowed your seed and watered with your foot as a garden of herbs. But the land that you go over to possess is a land of hills and valleys, which drinks water from rain of the sky, a land which Yahweh your God cares for. Yahweh your God's eyes are always on it from the beginning of the year even to the end of the year. It shall happen, if you listen diligently to my commandments which I command you today, to love Yahweh your God and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give the rain for your land in its season, the early rain and the latter rain, that you may give in your grain, your new wine, and your oil. I will give grass to your fields for your livestock, and you shall eat and be full. Be careful lest your heart be deceived, and you turn away to serve other gods and worship them, and Yahweh's anger be kindled against you, and he shuts up the sky, so there is no rain, and the land doesn't yield its fruit, and you perish quickly from off the good land which Yahweh gives you. Therefore you shall lay up these words of mine in your heart and in your soul. You shall bind them for a sign on your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes. You shall teach them to your children, talking of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, when you lie down and when you rise up. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, that your days and your children's days may be multiplied in the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers to give them as the days of heaven above the earth. For if you shall diligently keep all these commandments which I give you, to do them, to love Yahweh your God, to walk in all his ways, and to cling to him, then Yahweh will drive out all these nations from before you, and you shall dispossess nations greater and mightier than yourselves. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads shall be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river, the Euphrates, even to the western sea shall be your border. No man will be able to stand before you. Yahweh your God will lay the fear of you and the dread of you on all the land that you tread on, as he has spoken to you. Behold, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, if you listen to the commandments of Yahweh your God, which I command you today, and the curse if you do not listen to the commandments of Yahweh your God, but turn out of the way which I command you today, to go after other gods which you have not known. It shall happen when Yahweh brings you into the land that you go to possess, that you shall set the blessing on Mount Gerizim and the curse on Mount Ebal. Aren't they beyond the Jordan, behind the way of going down of the sun, in the land of the Canaanites who dwell in the Arba near Gilgal, beside the oaks of Moreh? For you are to pass over the Jordan, to go in to possess the land which Yahweh your God gives you, and you shall possess it and dwell in it. You shall observe to do all the statutes and the ordinances which I set before you today. These are the statutes and the ordinances which you should observe to do in the land which Yahweh the God of your fathers has given you to possess all the days that you shall live on earth. You shall destroy all the places in which the nations that you shall dispossess serve their gods, on the high mountains and on the hills and under every green tree. You shall break down their altars, dash their pillars in pieces, and burn their Asherah poles with fire. You shall cut down the engraved images of their gods. You shall destroy their name out of that place. You shall not do so to Yahweh your God, but to the place which Yahweh your God shall choose out of your tribes to put his name there. You shall seek his habitation, and you shall come there. You shall bring your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, the wave offering of your hand, the vows, your freewill offerings, and the firstborn of your herd and of your flock there. There you shall eat before Yahweh your God. You shall rejoice in all you put your hand to, you and your households, in which Yahweh your God has blessed you. You shall not do all the things that we do here today, every man whatever is right in his own eyes. We haven't yet come to rest and to the inheritance which Yahweh your God gives you. But when you go over the Jordan and dwell in the land which Yahweh your God causes you to inherit, and he gives you rest from all your enemies around you, so that you dwell in safety, then it shall happen that the place where Yahweh your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there, there you shall bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, the wave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows which you vow to Yahweh. You shall rejoice before Yahweh your God, you and your sons, your daughters, your male servants, your female servants, and the Levite who is within your gates, because he has no portion nor inheritance with you. Be careful that you don't offer your burnt offerings in every place that you see, but in the place that Yahweh chooses, in one of your tribes, there you shall offer your burnt offerings, and there you shall do all that I command you. Yet you may kill and eat meat within all your gates, after all the desire of your soul, according to Yahweh your God's blessing which he has given you. The unclean and the clean may eat of it, as of the gazelle and the deer, only you shall not eat the blood. You shall pour it out on the earth like water. You may not eat within your gates the tithe of your grain, or of your new wine, of your oil, or of the firstborn of your herd or your flock, nor any of the vows which you vow, nor your free will offerings, nor the wave offering of your hand. But you shall eat them before Yahweh your God, in the place which Yahweh your God shall choose, you, your son, your daughter, your male servant, your female servant, and the Levite who is within your gates. You shall rejoice before Yahweh your God in all that you put your hand to. Be careful that you don't forsake the Levite, as long as you live in your land. When Yahweh your God enlarges your border as he has promised you, and you say, I want to eat meat, because your soul desires to eat meat, you may eat meat, after all the desire of your soul. If the place which Yahweh your God shall choose to put his name is too far from you, then you shall kill of your herd and of your flock which Yahweh has given you, as I have commanded you, and you may eat within your gates, after all the desire of your soul. Even as a gazelle and a deer is eaten, so you shall eat of it. The unclean and the clean may eat of it alike. Only be sure that you don't eat the blood. For the blood is the life. You shall not eat the life with the meat. You shall not eat of it. You shall pour out on the earth like water. You shall not eat it, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, when you do that which is right in Yahweh's eyes. Only your holy things which you have, and your vows you shall take and go to the place which Yahweh shall choose. You shall offer your burnt offerings, the meat and the blood, on Yahweh your God's altar. The blood of your sacrifices shall be poured out on Yahweh your God's altar, and you shall eat the meat. Observe and hear all the words which I command you, that it may go well with you and with your children after you forever, when you do that which is good and right in Yahweh your God's eyes. When Yahweh your God cuts off the nations from before you where you go in to dispossess them, and you dispossess them and dwell in the land, be careful that you are not ensnared to follow them after they are destroyed from before you, and that you not inquire after their gods, saying, How do these nations serve their gods? I will do likewise. You shall not do so to Yahweh your God, for every abomination to Yahweh which he hates they have done to their gods, for they even burn their sons and their daughters in the fire to their gods. Whatever thing I command you, that you shall do to observe. You shall not add to it, nor take away from it. If a prophet or dreamer of dreams arises among you, and he gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder comes to pass of which he spoke to you, saying, let's go after other gods which you have not known, and let's serve them, you shall not listen to the words of that prophet, or to that dreamer of dreams. For Yahweh your God is testing you to know whether you love Yahweh your God with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk after Yahweh your God, fear him, keep his commandments, and obey his voice. You shall serve him and cling to him. That prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has spoken rebellion against Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to draw you aside out of the way which Yahweh your God commanded you to walk in. So you shall remove the evil from among you. If your brother, the son of your mother, or your son, or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend, who is as your own soul, entices you secretly, saying, let's go and serve other gods, which you have not known, nor you or your father, of the gods of the people who are around you, near to you, or far from you, from the ends of the earth even to the other end of the earth. You shall not consent to him, nor listen to him, neither shall your eye pity him, neither shall you spare, neither shall you conceal him, but you shall surely kill him. Your hand shall be the first to him to put to death, and afterward the hand of all the people. You shall stone him to death with stones, because he has sought to draw you away from Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the hand of bondage. All Israel shall hear and fear, and shall not do any more wickedness like this among you. If you hear about one of your cities, which Yahweh your God gives you there to dwell, certain wicked fellows have gone out from among you, and have drawn away the inhabitants of their city, saying, let's go and serve other gods which you have not known. Then you shall inquire, investigate, and ask diligently. Behold, if it is true, and the thing is certain, that such an abomination was done among you, you shall surely strike the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, with all that is therein, and its livestock with the edge of the sword. You shall gather all its plunder into the middle of the street, and shall burn it with fire in the city, with all of its plunder, to Yahweh your God. It shall be a heap forever. It shall not be built again. Nothing of the devoted thing shall cling to your hand, that Yahweh may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and show you mercy, and have compassion on you, and multiply you, as he has sworn to your fathers, when you listen to Yahweh your God's voice, to keep all his commandments which I command you today, to do that which is right in Yahweh your God's eyes. You are the children of Yahweh your God. You shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For you are a holy people to Yahweh your God, and Yahweh has chosen you to be to be a people for his own possession, above all peoples who are on the face of the earth. You shall not eat an abominable thing. These are the animals which you may eat: the ox, the sheep, the goat, the deer, the gazelle, the roebuck, the wild goat, the ibex, the antelope, and the chamois. Every animal that parts the hoof, and has the hoof split in two, and chews the cud among you, the animals, you may eat. Nevertheless, these you shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of those who have the hoof split: the camel, the hare, and the rabbit, because they chew the cud but don't part the hoof, they are unclean to you. The pig, because it has a split hoof but doesn't chew the cud, is unclean to you. You shall not eat their meat. You shall not touch their carcass. These you may eat of all that are in the waters. You may eat whatever has fins and scales. You shall not eat whatever doesn't have fins and scales. It is unclean to you. Of all clean birds you may eat, but these are those of whom you may not eat: the eagle, the vulture, the osprey, the red kite, the falcon, the kite of any kind, every raven of any kind, the ostrich, the owl, the seagull, the hawk of any kind, the little owl, the great owl, the horned owl, the pelican, the vulture, the cormorant, the stork, the heron after its kind, the hoopoe, and the bat. All winged creeping things are unclean to you. They shall not be eaten. Of all clean birds you may eat. You shall not eat anything that dies of itself. You may give it to the foreigner living among you, who is within your gates, that he may eat it, or you may sell it to a foreigner, for you are a holy people to Yahweh your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. You shall surely tithe all the increase of your seed, that which comes out of the field year by year. You shall eat before Yahweh your God in the place where he chooses to cause his name to dwell, the tithe of your grain, of your new wine, and of your oil, and the firstborn of your herd and of your flock, that you may learn to fear Yahweh your God always. If the way is too long for you, so that you are not able to carry it because of the place Yahweh your God shall choose to set his name, there it is too far from you, when Yahweh your God blesses you. Then you shall turn it into money, bind up the money in your hand, and shall go to the place which Yahweh your God shall choose. You shall trade the money for whatever your soul desires, for cattle or for sheep, or for wine or for strong drink, or for whatever your soul asks of you. You shall eat there before Yahweh your God, and you shall rejoice, you and your household. You shall not forsake the Levite who is within your gates, for he has no portion nor inheritance with you. At the end of every 3 years you shall bring all the tithe of your increase in the same year, and shall store it within your gates. The Levite, because he has no portion nor inheritance with you, as well as the foreigner living among you, the fatherless and the widow who are within your gates, shall come and eat and be satisfied, that Yahweh your God may bless you in all the works of your hands which you do. At the end of every 7 years you shall cancel debts. This is the way it shall be done. Every creditor shall release that which he has lent to his neighbour. He shall not require payment from his neighbour and his brother, because Yahweh's release has been proclaimed. Of a foreigner you may require it, but whatever of yours is with your brother, your hand shall release. However, there will be no poor with you, for Yahweh will surely bless you in the land which Yahweh your God gives you for an inheritance to possess. If only you diligently listen to Yahweh your God's voice, to observe all you do, this commandment which I command you today. For Yahweh your God will bless you as he promised you. You will lend to many nations, but you will not borrow. You will rule over many nations, but they will not rule over you. If a poor man, one of your brothers, is with you within any of your gates of your land which Yahweh your God gives you, you shall not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from your poor brother. But you shall surely open your hand to him, and shall surely lend him sufficient for his need which he lacks. Beware that there is not a wicked thought in your heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and your eye be evil against your poor brother, and you give him nothing, and he cry to Yahweh against you, and it be a sin to you. You shall surely give, and your heart shall not be grieved when you give it to him, because it is for this thing your Yahweh your God will bless you in all your work, and in all that you put your hand to. For the poor will never cease out of the land. Therefore I command you to surely open your hand to your brother, to your needy, and to your poor in your land. If your brother, a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, is sold to you, and serves you 6 years, then in the 7th year you shall let him go free from you. When you let him go free from you, you shall not let him go empty. You shall furnish him liberally out of your flock, out of your threshing floor, and out of your winepress. As Yahweh your God has blessed you, you shall give to him. You shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and Yahweh your God redeemed you. Therefore I command you this thing today. It shall be, if he tells you, I will not go out from you, because he loves you and your house, because he is well with you, then you shall take an owl and thrust it through the ear of his door, and he shall be your servant forever. Also to your female servant you shall do likewise. It shall not seem hard to you when you let him go free from you, for he has been double the value of a hired hand, and has served you 6 years. Yahweh your God will bless you in all that you do. You shall dedicate all the firstborn males that are born of your herd and of your flock to Yahweh your God. You shall do no work with the firstborn of your herd, nor shear the firstborn of your flock. You shall eat it before Yahweh your God year by year, in the place which Yahweh shall choose, you and your household. If it has any defect, is lame or blind, or has any defect whatsoever, you shall not sacrifice it to Yahweh your God. You shall eat it within your gates. The unclean and the clean shall eat it alike, as the gazelle and as the deer. Only you shall not eat its blood, you shall pour it on the ground like water. Observe the months of Abib, and keep the Passover to Yahweh your God. For in the months of Abib, Yahweh your God brought you out of Egypt by night. You shall sacrifice the Passover to Yahweh your God, of the flock and the herd, in the place which Yahweh shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. You shall eat no leavened bread with it. You shall eat unleavened bread with it 7 days, even the bread of affliction, for you came out of the land of Egypt in haste, that you may remember the day when you came out of the land of Egypt, all the days of your life. No yeast shall be seen with you in all your borders 7 days, neither shall any meat which you sacrificed on the first day of the evening remain all night until the morning. You may not sacrifice the Passover with any of your gates, which Yahweh your God gives you, but at the place which Yahweh your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell in, there you shall sacrifice the Passover at evening, at the going down of the sun, at the season that you came out of Egypt. You shall roast and eat it in the place which Yahweh your God chooses. In the morning you shall return to your tents. 6 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahweh your God. You shall do no work. You shall count for yourselves 7 weeks. From the time you begin to put the sickle to the standing grain, you shall begin to count 7 weeks. You shall keep the feast of weeks to Yahweh your God, with a tribute of a freewill offering of your hand, which you shall give according to how Yahweh your God blesses you. You shall rejoice before Yahweh your God, you, your son, your daughter, your male servant, your female servant, the Levite who is within your gates, the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow who are among you, in the place which Yahweh your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. You shall remember that you were a slave in Egypt. You shall observe and do these statutes. You shall keep the feast of booths 7 days, after you have gathered in from your threshing floor and from your winepress. You shall rejoice in your feast, you, your son, your daughter, your male servant, your female servant, the Levite, the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow who are within your gates. You shall keep a feast to Yahweh your God 7 days in the place which Yahweh chooses, because Yahweh your God will bless you in all your increase and in all the work of your hands, and you shall be altogether joyful. 3 times in a year all of your males shall appear before Yahweh your God in the place which he chooses, in the feast of unleavened bread, in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of booths. They shall not appear before Yahweh empty. Every man shall give as he is able, according to Yahweh your God's blessing, which he has given you. You shall make judges and officers in all your gates, which Yahweh your God gives you, according to your tribes, and they shall judge the people with righteous judgment. You shall not pervert justice. You shall not show partiality. You shall not take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and perverts the words of the justice. You shall follow that which is altogether just, that you may live and inherit the land which Yahweh your God gives you. You shall not plant for yourselves an Asherah of any kind of tree beside Yahweh your God's altar, which you shall make for yourselves. Neither shall you set yourself up a sacred stone which Yahweh your God hates.